MAGA men who have daughters. What did you tell your daughter when she found out that you voted for and are still supporting a sex offender? What did you tell them when they found out that he's taking away their rights? Can you really look at your daughter and think that you're providing for her?
I know the chairman keeps bringing up the fact that Pam Bondi is going to come to the Judiciary Committee. The Judiciary Committee is not the committee that is leading the investigation on this. We are the Oversight Committee. And so she can go over to the Judiciary Committee all she wants, like she, by the way, is supposed to, like every other attorney general has in the history of this country. Shows up before the Judiciary Committee at least once a year or once in Congress to talk about a lot of different business. But we have a very specific thing we need to talk with her about. And it is talking with her about the fact that she is breaking the law and that the administration is obviously slow rolling, putting forth the Epstein files. And I do not buy this thing that, oh, well, they're taking their time to redact it and this and that. We all know that's a load of BS. We all know that that is a talking point that perhaps the administration gave some of my colleagues that they are just repeating over and over and over again. But when you have the entire Department of Justice or a lot of people working on this, you should be able to produce documents in a much faster way. And the law was clear. And by the way, it's the law that we all voted on. So if you thought that the timetable was unfair, you should have voted no. But you voted yes. We all voted yes, except
Bondi has provided. This is DOJ Epstein data set number 4. It's number 4. Data set number 4. This is part of the 1% that folks have been talking about this today. I'll close with this. Attorney General Bondi and the Trump administration missed their deadline. They're ignoring our subpoena. They've withheld 99% of the files, and they have obscured the little that they did release. It's not a coincidence. It's intentional. It's about protecting one man, Donald J. Trump, from accountability.
I want to just make one thing clear. Oversight Democrats, from the start of this investigation, have been crystal clear that we're willing to talk to anyone who has information about Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes. And we don't care if they're wealthy, their position, if they're Democrats or Republicans. And we agree, subpoenas issued by our committee must always be respected. No president or former president is above the law. It's interesting that it's this subpoena only that Republicans and the chairman have been obsessed about putting all their energy behind. You are unwilling to use on Ghislaine Maxwell, a monster who has trafficked, abused, and raped children and women, and which every committee member in this body knows should be in front of this committee. Where is the contempt charges to bring her into this committee to answer the questions? And I hope that you would agree, Mr. Comer, that that should be one of our top priorities.
Question that I got over and over again from my constituents is what is in those files that is so bad that President Trump is invading Venezuela, threatening our NATO allies, and sending thousands of armed paramilitary troops onto our streets to create violence and chaos in American cities. This is what the American people are actually asking.
What is in the files Trump is hiding and do not want us to find out? I think I can give the people a view of some of his crimes against children.
You exactly when you were in a situation because they were trafficking you.
The last encounter with Trump, the one where I injured him, was the one that I remember the most vividly. And this was the setup for that. I can remember my dad, before we went to the farm, this was when we lived in Enterprise, Alabama.
Yeah.
So it would have been about 81 to 82, somewhere in there, maybe as late as 83. But he said there may be somebody that you know there. And I can remember the look on his face, and it scared the shit out of me. But anyway, when I got to the farm, of course, I'm scared at the farm because I don't know what's going to happen. But the first person that comes up to me is a girl named Patricia. This is a girl that I had been trafficked with before. And she came running up to me and, said hello or whatever. She was about my same age, around 12 or 13. And I can remember my dad saying, well, why don't you guys go run off or whatever and have fun? And I can remember not knowing what to do in that instance because, these parties weren't for me. I wasn't. And then he said something to the effect of, no, it's not like that for you anymore. You're a man now. You can just go out and have fun. Well, we went to go have sex. So we went and found a room and started having sex. And while we were having sex, people burst into the room. It would have been 4, 5, 6 guys, big guys, adults. At least one of them had a gun. I think 2 or 3 of them had guns. But they came in, they assaulted her, they beat on her, and then they shot her while she was still in the bed. They didn't beat or assault me, but what they said was, if you don't do everything that the next person coming in here wants, we're going to shoot you just like we did her. And I can remember them having like an argument because they shot her in the bed and then they had to go find another mattress. Well, that's when Trump came in. So that's why I remember him so vividly. And it was at that point I had already decided they're probably just going to kill me anyway. I'm going to take him with me. And I tried, but I did not.
How did you? So obviously Trump was extremely violent. Trump's
Yes.
a sadistic psychopath. When Trump assaulted you, so sexual assault and physical assault?
Yes. So
And
at one point, I kind of acquiesced to whatever sexual things that he wanted to do. But at some point, he wanted me to have sex with him. So he laid down on his stomach, and there was a wooden tent stake that was in the room, and I had been eyeballing it as a weapon. And what I did was put the condom on the wooden tent stake, put it inside of him, and I kicked it as hard as I could. And that's why he had to get life flighted out, because I ripped him open.
Sweet. Do you ever watch the movie The Equalizer?
No, I haven't seen it.
Denzel Washington, sort of like justice when everyone involved in American law enforcement can't get any justice. That would be a sort of situation, obviously. I laughed because there's poetic justice there. Sasha.
That was what facilitated. Not only did I get really assaulted by Andy Biggs, I also got assaulted by like an entire party's worth of people. So they took.
After Trump was airlifted out?
Yeah, a whole nother party. So they took me to another party after that.
Over and over again from my constituents is what is in those files that is so bad.
And they could do whatever they wanted. Most of them just beat
is
on me.
invading Venezuela, threatening our NATO allies, and sending thousands of armed paramilitary troops onto our streets to create violence and chaos in American cities. It's what the American people are actually
asking. And he just hauled off and punched me in the side of the head and knocked me out.